I'm Dr. Duck, Senior Researcher of the SCP Foundation. Today we're covering SCP-011 through SCP-020, 10 anomalies that push the limits of reality, biology, and perception. Each one is contained for a reason that you're about to see. SCP-011, also known as Sentient Civil War Memorial Statue, is classified as safe. SCP-011 appears to be a statue of a young man holding a rifle, located in Woodstock, Vermont. Under normal conditions, it remains completely motionless and functions as a standard outdoor memorial. However, SCP-011 is capable of limited autonomous activity, primarily during nighttime or periods of low observation. When active, SCP-011 exhibits signs of basic intelligence and environmental awareness. It is capable of manipulating its rifle and has been observed firing at nearby disturbances, including animals such as birds. It may reposition itself or react unpredictably depending on external stimuli. Communication attempts have been partially successful, though responses are minimal and often unclear. Containment is maintained through continuous monitoring rather than physical restriction due to its fixed public location. SCP-012, also known as a bad composition, is classified as Euclid. SCP-012 is a handwritten musical score composed in ink on aged paper. At first glance, it appears incomplete. Large portions of the composition are missing. However, when a subject views SCP-012, a compulsive effect begins. The subject feels an overwhelming urge to complete the score. This urge rapidly intensifies. Subjects will attempt to fill in the missing sections using any available material. If no writing instrument is available, they will use whatever they can, even their own blood. This behavior continues until the subject is physically unable to proceed. Despite multiple attempts, SCP-012 has never been successfully completed. The composition remains unfinished, and every subject who tries fails. SCP-013 consists of a collection of 242 cigarettes, each individually marked with the words "Blue Lady" written in blue ink. At first glance, they appear to be ordinary cigarettes. However, individuals who smoke them begin experiencing progressive perceptual changes. After exposure, subjects begin to perceive themselves as a specific, unidentified woman. This perception is consistent across cases. A female figure, 25 to 35 years old, with blue-toned features, often referred to as the Blue Lady. Reflections and mirrors no longer display the subject's original appearance. Instead, they are replaced entirely by this perceived identity. Over time, the effect stabilizes. Subjects report a complete loss of recognition of their original self-image. Despite this, no physical transformation occurs. The body remains unchanged in reality, and only perception is altered. Once the psychological change occurs, it is considered irreversible, leading to a permanent loss of identity. SCP-014, also known as the Concrete Man, is classified as safe. SCP-014 appears as a 30-year-old Caucasian male with black hair and brown eyes. The subject is completely encased within a single, seamless mass of reinforced concrete. No openings, joints, or points of entry have ever been identified. Despite this, SCP-014 remains alive and conscious. The subject exhibits minimal biological activity, limited to slight respiration and speech. No movement of limbs is possible, and the body remains entirely immobilized. SCP-014 shows no signs of aging and has remained in this condition since discovery. Communication is possible, though responses are brief and limited. The subject appears aware of its environment and fully conscious of its condition. SCP-015, also known as Pipe Nightmare, is classified as Euclid. SCP-015 is a massive, anomalous structure composed entirely of interconnected pipes, valves, boilers, and industrial components. At first glance, it resembles an outdated and abandoned plumbing system. However, the structure has no fixed layout. Its internal configuration is constantly shifting, as if the system is actively reorganizing itself. New pathways form while others disappear without warning, making mapping impossible beyond short periods. Exploration has revealed that SCP-015 extends far beyond the limits of its physical footprint. Sections of the structure display extreme environmental instability. Temperatures can vary drastically within short distances, ranging from freezing cold to lethal heat. Pressure changes occur without mechanical input, and some segments appear to function independently of any power source. Certain passages resemble known industrial designs. Others do not correspond to any recognized engineering standard or material composition. SCP-015 appears to incorporate surrounding matter into its structure, gradually expanding over time. Multiple exploration attempts have resulted in personnel loss, with several individuals failing to return. Due to its instability and unpredictable expansion, full containment has not been achieved. SCP-016, also known as Sentient Micro-Organism, is classified as Keter. SCP-016 is an airborne biological anomaly with no visible structure under normal conditions. At first glance, infected environments appear completely unaffected. However, exposure leads to rapid and irreversible biological alteration in living hosts. The infection targets cellular structures, progressively rewriting them at an accelerating rate. Early symptoms are subtle and often go unnoticed. As the process continues, the organism begins responding directly to external conditions and stressors. Any high-stress situation can trigger adaptive genetic rewriting in the host body, attempting to improve survival in real time. This adaptation process typically takes 24 hours or longer, and most subjects do not survive its full progression. For example, a subject exposed to drowning conditions may begin developing gill-like structures or fin-like appendages. A subject subjected to repeated stabbing may develop extreme dermal thickening or hardened skin structures. However, these adaptations are uncontrolled and often incompatible with human survival. The result is severe physiological distortion as the body continuously restructures itself. SCP-016 demonstrates high adaptability and rapidly adjusts its behavior in response to containment measures. Mutations are permanent, and there is currently no cure for the infection. SCP-017, also known as Shadow Person, is classified as Keter. SCP-017 appears as a small humanoid silhouette approximately half a meter in height. At first glance, it resembles a normal shadow cast on a surface. Unlike a usual shadow, SCP-017 is not connected to any physical object or light source. It exists independently and can move freely across surfaces. Under normal conditions, it remains motionless. But when any object enters its shadow, SCP-017 reacts instantly. It expands and envelops the target completely, consuming it without sound or trace. After contact, no physical remains are recovered. The process appears instantaneous and leaves no observable evidence of the object's destruction. SCP-017 does not respond to physical interaction or environmental changes, but is highly sensitive to the interruption of light. Only continuous and uninterrupted illumination prevents its activity. If lighting is disrupted, even briefly, SCP-017 becomes active immediately. For this reason, containment relies entirely on redundant lighting systems and strict control of environmental exposure. SCP-018, also known as Superball, is classified as Euclid. SCP-018 appears to be a small red rubber ball similar to a standard toy. Once set in motion, its behavior changes rapidly. Each time SCP-018 strikes a surface, it gains energy instead of losing it. With every bounce, its speed and force increase. What begins as a simple drop can escalate within seconds into extreme velocity. Very quickly, SCP-018 becomes uncontrollable. It rebounds faster, harder, and more unpredictably with each impact. At peak energy levels, it is capable of damaging reinforced structures and injuring personnel. Attempts to stop it through direct interception have failed. However, its motion can be halted when it enters a sufficiently large body of liquid, which absorbs its kinetic energy. Containment relies on controlled environments and liquid-based dampening systems to prevent escalation. SCP-019, also known as the Monster Pot, is classified as Keter. SCP-019 is a large ceramic vase of Greek origin, measuring approximately 1.8 meters in diameter and 2.4 meters in height. From within the container, small hostile creatures are continuously generated. These entities are vaguely humanoid, often displaying distorted or animal-like features. They attack using teeth and claws, showing immediate aggression toward nearby targets. Despite this, they are highly unstable. The creatures are extremely flammable and rarely survive longer than 48 hours. The rate at which they appear is not constant. It increases when the vase is moved, disturbed, exposed to extreme temperatures, or when objects are placed inside it. Even under controlled conditions, it can produce approximately 1 creature per hour at 0 degrees Celsius. The interior of the container does not appear large enough to contain what it produces. If left unchecked, their numbers can escalate quickly. Containment requires strict environmental control and continuous removal of all emerging entities. SCP-020, also known as unseen mold, is classified as Keter. SCP-020 is a fungal organism that is completely invisible to the naked eye. Despite this, it spreads rapidly across both organic and inorganic surfaces. Standard visual inspection cannot detect its presence. Infected individuals initially show no physical symptoms. Over time, subtle behavioral changes begin to appear. Subjects may become unusually calm, passive, or emotionally detached. Decision-making becomes impaired, often shifting toward actions that favor exposure to contaminated environments. As the infection progresses, awareness declines. Individuals may ignore obvious risks, resist decontamination, or actively avoid medical evaluation. In advanced stages, subjects can display near-complete indifference to their condition. The organism appears to influence behavior in a way that maximizes its own spread. Environments exposed to SCP-020 can become heavily contaminated without any visible warning. Detection relies on indirect methods, including air quality analysis and biological testing. Containment requires strict sterilization procedures and continuous environmental monitoring. Even minor containment failures can result in widespread exposure. That concludes SCP-011 through SCP-020. 10 anomalies, each one recorded, studied, and contained by the Foundation. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing for more SCP content.